And continuing on with the level 40 story, no break in the stream, we're going to meet Forgal at the Renegade camp outside of the city because we're trying to find out more about this Ajax Anvilburn character. He represents a direct threat to the peace between the humans and the Char. He's trying to undo that. And we actually are so close to finishing this hard here. And so we need to put a stop to this. We need to stop him from um, disrupting the peace talks and stop him from destroying or conducting these terror attacks on Ebonhawk here and all this business. So if we can go straight to the source of the threat versus continuing to fight off these renegades, if we can simply kind of cut off the head of the organization, then that'll be a huge step in the right direction. So we're going to link up with Forgal and attempt to do just that. Nighttime.
Hey there, kid. Remember to bring your weapon?
I'm ready to fight. And don't call me kid.
Ha! Got some spark in you, eh, recruit? Good to see. We'll need it if we're gonna stamp out these renegades. Get ready to move, and keep your voice low. If we're lucky, we can catch these bootjacks sleeping.
You really think we'll be lucky?
Kid, we both know that kind of luck doesn't exist. Still, try to take prisoners if you can. We'll need them to give us information if Anvilburn isn't there.
So we just run in there and yell, "Hello, bad guys, surrender or die."
Look here, Whelp. There's a time for strategy and there's a time for kicking the door down. We don't need tactics against this rabble. We just need force.
Yes, sir, War Master.
Right then. Don't worry about hello. Just skip straight to surrender or die. Now move out.
I question, from a military standpoint, I question Forgal's decision making. We don't have time for a plan. Who says that? What self-respecting, like, what are they actually feeding on here? Ooh, a separatist, a dead separatist, who kind of looks like what was that really like bad movie in the 90s and Gary Oldman played like a drug dealer? Is that, was it called like True Love or something like that? Is that Gary Oldman in that movie? True Romance. It's called True Romance. It's Gary Oldman in True Romance. All right, let's find more dead humans. Oh, look at that. No guards. No one pulling security. You know, like what happened to 33% security? Not for the Char Renegades. Not a thing that's happening. This is what happens when you use like Russian military tactics. Everybody dies. You know. It speaks to the importance of a professionalized military, right? All right. So this is pretty ruthless, Forgal, right? Like, he knows they're sleeping inside here, like, so we just ignite the tents. Like, he's not wrong, but whew, that's a rough way to go, man, to get lit on fire and then get stabbed in the face. All right, we got more sleeping guards over here who wake up and immediately say, "I hate all that you stand for." Hey, man. Like, that's great. All right, so now we have a named character here. So this guy is presumably like the squad leader for this very poorly disciplined group of Char. And unlike all of his subordinates, he gives in before he dies. All right, Pizor.
You shuck-brained cur. Where's Ajax Anvilburn? We know he's behind the attacks on Ebonhawk. Spill!
You just missed him. He left this morning. He's on his way to kill some worthless human named Duran. They're setting an ambush at Summit Peak. They'll kill Duran, then leave the bloody knife with old Steel Crusher. We're killing two peace lovers with one trap.
Ashes and snow? He means Minister Kent Duran, the Crichton ambassador. I bet Steel Crusher's the ambassador for the High Legions.
You're Vigil, aren't you? Ha! Ajax will be sorry he missed killing you. Tell his human-loving mother, Almora, that one day we'll spit on her grave.
Almora's Ajax's mother?
That's above your pay grade, recruit. Forget you heard anything about it.
Forget? I can't just forget. Don't you think that's important?
Whatever happened to discipline? Kids these days. All right, fine. But not here and not now. We'll talk about it later. Right now we have to evac before more renegades show up. Leave this coward to rot and die alone. Let's get back to Ebonhawk and warn Samuelson about Ajax's plan.
Alright, so it's not evac if you're mission complete and you're leaving the objective. It's exfil. We don't have casualties. We're not evacing, Forgal. Yes, Ajax is Almora's son. So that is the kind of thing that, like, ArenaNet really loves within their storytelling. And I certainly have no problem with it, right? Because now this, it does a lot to reinforce the character of Almora. We understand better her commitment to the mission. And it also, at the same time, makes Almora a more relatable character, right? When we write these foibles and flaws into our characters, if we do it the right way, then it makes them relatable, likable characters. If we do it wrong, then it makes them Kaith. But you know, this is one of those things with Almora, right? She realizes we might have to kill him. All right, so there it is. That is the now we understand the level of commitment that Almora has. But can't she just tell him to back off? Okay, so this is very like this speaks to the Char culture. The Char raise their children collectively. They do not raise, parents do not raise their children. Char society raises the children in these school-like communes called Ferrars. Okay, so if you play a Char character, you'll hear a lot more about Ferrars. And then once we start getting more involved with Char in general, because right now we're still not really touching. We've met General Almora. Oh my gosh, what's her name? We've met some Char, but we haven't really done a deep dive into Char culture. So this is with a career or with the story path that we're taking, this is our first exposure to like this aspect of Char culture. I understand. All right, so what's next? We need to warn the delegation. Well, let's do it. Let's go warn these dudes because presumably, like, this is problematic for people in the delegation who do not want to die. All right. And we will lose basically 0 time. Wonder what that guy's got going. Okay, so Ailey Jane here, chatting with Forgal. What are they chatting about?
Who are you people? Commander Samuelson didn't mention an escort, and you certainly don't look like Vanguard.
We're with the Vigil. We know about the attack planned for Minister Duran. We're here to make sure you reach him in time.
An escort? I'm a soldier of the Ebon Vanguard. I don't need babysitters.
We're not babysitters. We're tourists, traveling the same road, taking in the same scenery, and beating the ever-living crap out of the same idiots as you. You look like a fine sergeant. Are you really going to tell us where we can't go and who we can't beat up on such a nice day?
I have to get this message to the minister. I don't have time for this. Just keep up or I leave you behind. Head out for Summit Peak, and don't slow down. Vigil's my escort?
So I actually quite like
Just don't tell the
Ailey Jane. Maybe.
Never heard the end of it.
If I'd had a daughter, she'd be a lot like Jane. Except smarter, stubborn. Careful.
Oh, he didn't finish his line. He was gonna say smarter, stubborner, and better looking. So you can see that like Forgal has a degree of respect for Ailey Jane. I like her as a character as well. Ooh, I'm gonna reset the story there.
fury.
But this isn't necessarily the particular story chapter that's going to endear her to us. We will at some point see more of her in the future as well. So these renegades are like everywhere, right? Like right outside the gates of Ebonhawk. So that kind of says something about the level of threat, that exists here. It reminds me of, like in Afghanistan, if you did not really pay, like, if you did not dedicate yourself to the security of the area around your base, then the threat would exist immediately outside the gates of your base. Which was a problem that some units ran into. Poorly led units, striking IEDs 300 meters from their front gate. The question is, like, how could that even happen? Well,
We all knew the risk when we joined the Vanguard. Duty first.
Alright, so what they're talking about is this Ebon Vanguard archer up here who's downed, not dead. And Ailey Jane says, I don't have time to, like, address this. I don't have time to rescue this archer. Because I have a mission and my mission precludes that. That's what's being communicated. I'm not going to provide commentary on that. That's what's being communicated. We have more than enough time to actually get the archer up. Because we got the archer up, much like with this hunter, they'll actually join us on our little adventure here. So we might as well, right? But now we will learn something about what Ailey Jane was talking about. If we stop and resurrect this, what is it, Ebon Vanguard warrior here. Oh no, he immediately, dies for whatever reason after. I don't know what the particular mechanism for him being rezzed and then immediately dying is, but it's a world of magic and mystery and so forth. So we won't dwell too much on that. It was an ambush, right? So some of what Ailey Jane was saying about not stopping and just helping random people along the way, now we understand the importance of her perspective, right? But we still got the hunter and the archer with us, so go team. We're a whole mess of people now rolling up on the camp, right?
On site. Stand at attention.
All right, she's Sergeant Ailey. So there are times when I would there are some things that they do pretty well in regards to incorporating military stuff into their story, and then there are times when it's just very clear that they have no idea. And this would be a great example of them having no idea, right? So here's Steel Crusher and Duran, who were the targets of this plot, right?
Minister Duran, sir, please. It's critical that you hear this. Commander Samuelson sent me from Ebonhawk. You're both in terrible danger.
Danger? Slow down, Sergeant. Take a deep breath and tell me what's going on.
Ajax Anvilburn and his renegades are going to ambush you. They plan to assassinate Minister Duran and blame the attack on Ambassador Steelcrusher.
Well, we can't let that happen, can we? Duran, can you fight?
Not as well as a Char, but I can hold my own. We could take cover at Summit Peak up ahead. Having the high ground would be in our favor. The camp is a defensible location. If the renegades don't know we're prepared, we could turn the tables on them when they attack.
With all due respect, Minister, the best defense is usually a good offense. I recommend we find the traitor's base and destroy Ajax before he can strike.
The Vigil were the ones to uncover this plot. With due respect, sirs, I think we should let them decide if we choose ambush or assault.
Oh, okay, well. So we get to make the decision, right? Well, of course we do, because as the players, we get to have agency, right? So, as we should. But it's just funny how it comes out. So, not only are they giving us two options in terms of gameplay, but they're again showing us some of the differences between human culture and Char culture, why this peace pursuit has been a struggle, because these are two very different worlds. And the recommendations made here by each of these ambassadors or minister or whatever is meant to be representative of the mindset and the ideology of these two races. Now I can tell you 100%, like from my perspective as a military member, if we can strike them at their strongest point and put them back on their heels versus taking a defensive position. Yes, defensive position is stronger. You're always stronger in a defensive position versus on the offensive. But you're also not moving forward and not gaining initiative if you're on the defense. So we're going to go with Ambassador Steelcatcher's plan. We're going to, if we can attack Ajax at his position versus him coming to our position, then we're taking the initiative, and initiative is a good thing, right? So let's take these guys out before they can do any more harm. And by the way, this is not, where they're talking about is this tent right up here. That's not like a fortified defensive position, right? It's a tent. So let's do it.
Renegade's camp. Attack with all the force we can muster. Good choice, recruit.
Well, thank you. I am known for my good choices. This is just one of many. All right, but of course, this whole idea is, after all, incumbent on us actually finding Ajax and his camp. Fortunately, and we can, if we want to kind of within our headcanon, we want to, explain it as like maybe Steelcatcher. Has like good intelligence contacts, and the Char shared intelligence with us, or whatever the case. However you want to kind of explain that. But we now know where the renegade camp is, conveniently. Like, there's no part of the story that like is going to endeavor to explain that to us, right? Had we chosen the other route, then it would we would basically establish like some defensive positions, like one over here because the enemy's going to attack up there. One over here because the enemy's going to come up this way, and then one over here to the east. I do not have a moment. I'm in the middle of streaming, dude. And then one over here by supply caravan guide Kelly. How have I never seen that NPC before? What are you doing over here, Kelly? Oh, well. She just loves delivery. It's like the pizza delivery guy. Kelly, cool. I dig it. But it looks like she's got an escort, so good for her. But we're not going to set in our defense positions here, right? Instead, we're going to go attack Ajax where he is. Again, I approve. That is the right decision, which is why I chose it.
I could outrun a centaur.
Can never have too much kale. We're going to make a salad with it. Throw like some walnuts and cranberries in there, a little vinaigrette. It's going to be amazing. Alright, so guess what this is? I mean, I think you can guess.
There you are.
Ah, here I am, Forgal. Yes, I was actually taking that, and also getting some kale.
For the love of recruit, talk some sense into this woman. She's more stubborn than a goat shaman.
Forgal, these are renegades. They're nothing but an unruly mob, and they're trapped in a cave with only one exit. If you seriously think this'll be a fight, then maybe you should start thinking about retiring, old man.
Watch it, soldier, or I'll old man you into the ground. These are Char, and they know we're coming. They've chosen a defensible point, and they've had time to fortify. If you go in recklessly, you're just going in to die.
A wise man taught me there's a time for strategy and there's a time for kicking the door down. I'd listen to him if I were you.
Looks like you learned quick, recruit. Good. Now listen here, Sergeant. We're going to stick together as a unit, so we aren't picked off one by one. We go in slow and careful, and watch out for surprises. Recruit, I'm putting you on point. Tell me when you're ready to advance.
Why am I on point? That is so he's just volunteered me to die, right? I'm not going to be on point. I mean, all right, let's fulfill our obligation. Let's hurry up here and get on point. Why are you guys going ahead of me? Oh man, look at this. One way in, one way out. And they have covered this breach here with cannons. And look what happened. See, this is why you don't want to be on point. Look what happened to the people on point. All dead. Okay, so Ailey Jane, like your plan to just recklessly assault this does appear to have some drawbacks. Okay, so now we gotta clear all these guys from the breach here. So really, like, what would be the right answer? Well, the right answer would be to, if we know there is no way in and no way out except for this, then what's the rush? Like, we now know that they cannot attack the ambassador and the representative and whatever, because they're pinned in here. Just pin them in. Just, you guys left your buddy behind. Go get your buddy. Come on, these terrible soldiers. So we're really not under an obligation to come charging in here, because, like, we control the ingress egress route. But, you know, I mean, it's, you know, that's no fun. All right, that would be like a really boring story. So here we go. We're gonna charge in here, and we got all these threats to remove, including these cannons. Now, truthfully, from like a gameplay perspective, like, these cannons are not like particularly bad. Like, they're not just gonna absolutely wreck us. But you know, cannons are bad. You know, and in real life, you don't just want to run straight at like the most casualty-producing weapon that the enemy has. So let's get these cannons destroyed. And there's our boy, Ajax Ambleburn. All right. So jackpot sided. Let's get him. Oh no! Where'd he go? There he is.
You were right, War Master. The renegades were ready for us.
No, they just thought they were ready for us. They couldn't stand against the Vigil.
I don't understand those renegades. It's hard to believe anyone in Tyria would work against peace. With the dragons out there, we can't afford to be divided.
Some people can't see past their own noses. It's a good thing we can. This treaty will help even the odds against Zaitan. Count on it. You did well, recruit. You learn quickly, you adapt, and you know when to put hammer to steel. I wasn't sure I'd like you when we started this operation. Amora kind of twisted my arm to take you on, said you were special. But damned if you didn't live up to every word she said. You aren't like the rest of these youngins hanging around the Order.
I'm field promoting you to Crusader, but don't let it go to your head.
I won't, old man. And thank you. It's an honor to work with you too.
Old man, huh? Don't push your luck.
Oh, we've been promoted to Crusader. That's such a charged term. Apparently it's a rank. Okay, so we are now Crusader. But apparently we have some unfinished business. Speak to Forgall at Vigil Keep. Alright, so actually we are nowhere near Vigil Keep. I don't know where I think I'm running to because Vigil Keep is way over here. So, tell you what we're gonna do. We're just gonna stop right here. We can save ourselves like 2 silver by just going through Lion's Arch. Because 2 silver, super important.
Quit pulling my tail.
Tilt your head a little.
Come on, I don't. Darn me, it's a stingray.
So they're talking about the raid, whatever it's called, the raid staging area down here. That is the stingray. Those are the eyes right there. So, Vigil Keep. Each of the orders has a headquarters that exists within the open world. Vigil Keep is up here. In fact, that's actually a bridge, and then all this includes... These are something different. That was introduced during Season 1, I believe? Was it 1 or 2? It was 1 or 2. I think it was Season 1. We'll be able to see it on the horizon here soon. There we go. We can start to see some of it now. So it's really quite an impressive structure. By Guild Wars 2 standards, certainly. And I think a lot of things, even in core game, were pretty impressive. Black Citadel's very impressive in its own way. But so here we go. All this, from these towers over here, moving across, all the way over to this ramp over here, and this tower and crane and whatever. Like, that's all the Vigil Keep. This is the other thing. This is actually a VIP area that exists within this map, which makes it different from, like, Mistlock Sanctuary, which is kind of like its own map. Then when we start getting into Living World Season 1, then we'll, this will again become a very prominent area within the story, although its purpose will change somewhat. But right now, its primary mechanism is it is the headquarters for the Vigil.
Well done, recruit. You saved the treaty between Kryta and the Iron Legion.
I hope they manage to create a lasting peace, General. We can't defeat the dragons unless both nations work together. General, may I ask a question? Ajax Anvilburn, he was your son, is that correct?
Stand down, Crusader. That's none of your...
No, War Master. I'll answer the question. After all the two of you went through, the Crusader deserves that much. Ajax was my son. As is our custom, I didn't raise him. I left him at the Farrar, and he found me again after my warband was slaughtered by a dragon. I tried to explain to him why I founded the Vigil, but he said I was wasting my time. He never really understood the threat the dragons pose. Like many in the legions, Ajax never looked beyond the Char. I will grieve for my son, but I will not look back.
I'm sorry for your loss, General, but Tyria's safer because of your sacrifices.
Thank you. I agree.
General Soulkeeper, I'd like to request that the Crusader be permanently assigned as my partner.
That's a surprise, Forlo. Are you going soft on me?
I don't have time to break in anyone else. All right, I admit it. We work well together.
Consider yourself so assigned. Crusader, I've briefed Forgel on some options for your next mission. Speak with him, and then decide.
Alright, so this is actually, I've mentioned a couple times the core story giving us a lot more decision points than will happen at any point after core story. This is one of the really kind of fun decisions, and the choices that you get to make, we're going to get to choose between 3 things, but the 3 things you get to choose from are different depending on your race. So like human has 3 choices. There's a lot of overlap, like between the 3 that we choose. I think Norn have like 2 of the same ones, Char have at least 1 of the same ones. I think one of the other races, maybe Savari, have like the exact same 3, but there are ultimately like 5 or 6 different choices spread out across the races. So if you wanted to really experience like every aspect of that, then you would want to play through this with like all 5 races, right? Obviously that's a lot. There are some folks out there who have a ton of alts, and that's an opportunity available for them. There are folks who endeavor to have all 9 classes, both genders, so now we're up to 18, across all 5 races. Well, that's 90, which is more than you can actually have on an account. And thus, that could be one explanation among many why folks have like alt accounts and stuff like that. I don't really enjoy most of the other. Well, beyond human, I enjoy Asura and Char. I don't really get into Sylvari and Norn that much, but everyone's got their thing. So real quick here before we make our choice, also we have another character here. We did not speak to them. They didn't have any dialogue during this exchange or anything like that. But Larenthir the Wild, we now see him very close to General Almoris Soulkeeper. So another name, much like Ailey Jane, to keep track of, because later on as the story advances, we may be seeing Larenthir again. He may have some role in the story. All right, Forgal, what's going on? So we're going to be aiding a tribal culture. And that's with a desired end state of bringing them into the fold, so to speak, bringing them into a state of alliance with the Vigil in our battle against the Elder Dragons. Okay, so we got three options. The Skrit are a rat-like race. They have some really interesting, odd things about them in terms of their intellect. They appear very stupid, but they actually possess like a collective intellect. So when a whole bunch of Skrit are in one area, they are smarter than a single individual Skrit on their own, because it's like they, they merge their processing power of their brains, so like they can tackle more complex problems. Where, so in theory, enough Skrit in one place is like super genius, like beyond even the Asura. We never really see that in game, but in theory, that could be the case. Right? But we do see where the Skrit gets smarter or dumber depending on how many of them are in one place. We do 100% see that in the story. We got the Quaggan, who are like these weird, they're like an aquatic thing, sort of like a seal or a manatee, but like smaller, and they got like little legs, and they're an interesting little thing. And they also possess an interesting trait where they have kind of a dual nature. They are normally very pacifist and easygoing and kind of drift through life and all this, but they actually possess the potential to like transform a little bit and become like they call it the rage, and then they're more dangerous creatures. And then we got the Hylek, who are like a frog people. And I would say of these, while these two kind of have some more like unique attributes as a race, these have a culture, and we don't see so much culture between these, whereas these very much have like a culture that might resemble like an Amazon tribe or something. And they have a whole not caste system, but they have these constructs within their culture in terms of the stratification of their people and so forth. So none of these are like better or worse than any others necessarily. They're all interesting in their own way. I had not really given consideration to which one we were going to choose at this point. We're going to choose the script. Rodent scavengers, good-hearted but light-fingered. Yeah, so they do like they scavengers to the point where if it's not in your hand, they might scavenge it, right? So, all right, we'll help the script out.
Very well. I'll meet you by the feral dens.
Ah, look at that. All right. And another mastery point. A lot of mastery point wrapped up in the story. In the core story, and then Season 2 has a ton of mastery points wrapped up in it. So if you're pursuing, like, core Tyria masteries, and you're like, I don't know where to get, the mastery points that I need. I need 3, 8, 9, 12, 18, 27. I don't know if there are 27 rolled up in the story, but there are a number rolled up in the story. We will certainly able, just based off doing core Season 1, Season 2, we'll be able to get Mistlock Singularities. I don't know that we'll be able to complete legendary crafting or not, but all right. So we did get a letter. Let's check that letter before we wrap it up for our story playthrough today. Oh, it's from Logan. Word is spreading quickly. We're doing good things. So this is kind of an update on his thing too. I heard that Ritlock and Air have been investigating the Ascalonian catacombs. So this would be the story behind Ascalon Catacombs dungeon. Zojak continues to fight for Snaf's legacy. So Snaf was another Asur who was also part of the Destiny's Edge Guild. He died when Logan bounced to protect Queen Jenna, and so, you know, some of them, Ritlock included, blame Logan for Snaf's death, and but clearly Zoja actually blames Air, and it's just like this big mess, right? Kaith roams Caledon Forest, and then we'll actually, there's another dungeon where you can see Kaith, and it's in Caledon Forest. So all these things is just kind of, oh yeah, and then Logan intends. So this party is the Codicus Manor story mode, which just further kind of delves into the fact that Codicus is actually a shifty, shadowy character and not to be trusted. And that's what he leads off with. I don't intend to allow him to succeed in stealing her, being Jenna's throne. So really, this letter is a mechanism to prompt the player to look at the story mode dungeons and the dungeons in general, right? Now, 2023, unfortunately, the dungeons are not content that is, I don't want to say it's not maintained. They've put some effort into setting it up into a good place as far as like maintenance goes. So the dungeons are not going to fall apart, but they're also not updated anymore. So it's just kind of, it's not. I would fall a little bit short of calling it dead content. It is static content. It is what it is, and players are either going to do it or they're not. It can be a little bit. I don't think it's like, well, it can be pretty rough to get groups sometimes. Rougher than I would like. But it also depends which one. On 0 to 0, we had very little trouble getting like Ascalon Catacombs groups and Twilight Arbor groups. But I think we only did one path of Crucible of Eternity plus the story, so 2 total runs on CoE. That one's like real hard to get these days, right? So, all right. So what did we do today? We went through the level 40 story, or chapter 4 within the core personal story. We advanced within the Vigil. We learned a lot more about what the Vigil actually is, what it's all about, and we advanced in terms of rank and importance within the organization. And now, being fully onboarded to the organization, we are going to, as we look forward to the level 50 story, we're going to be making an effort to take another race beyond the 5 prominent ones, so beyond Human, Char, Sylvari, Norn, and Asura, and bring them into the fight against the Elder Dragons as well. And the race that we have selected to seek the assistance of, or to seek collaboration with, is the Hylek, which is like a frog sort of race. So, thank you for joining me on the story playthrough. I'm enjoying our slow movement towards progress, and when you talk about playing through all the story, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be slow. So I will cut today's gameplay into 2 videos, and then we will do level 50 tomorrow. Thank you very much, and have a good one.